हेलो फ्रेंड, अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मेरा नाम अब्दुलरहमान और मैं रानी स्कूल में इंग्लिश लेवल का स्टूडेंट हूँ। तो जैसा आपको पता है कि हम डेली बेसिस पे सीजन करते हैं, तो आज हम फिर से आ गए सीजन करने। और आज का हमारा टॉपिक है सिग्निफिकेशन एज इमेज स्पेस एक्सप्लोरर। तो चलो हम स्टार्ट करते हैं। सो लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड। सो हेलो
Hey,
माया, हाउ
Abdul
आर यू?
Rahman. What's been on your mind lately?
सो माया, हाउ आर यू?
I'm doing well, thanks. Just hanging out here, ready to chat. What's going on with you today?
So Maya, my first question is introduction to space explorer.
Nice. Space exploration's a huge topic. What exactly about it were you hoping to explore first? There's everything from orbital mechanics to the search for life. It's pretty broad.
So Maya, my second question is importance of exploring space.
Ah, that's a big one. For me, it feels about that innate human drive to push boundaries, that curiosity that's always been part of what makes us us. But beyond that, it's about survival. Earth isn't getting any younger, and eventually we'll need to broaden our horizons. And honestly, a lot of the tech we take for granted, things like GPS, weather forecasting, even scratch resistant lenses, came directly from space exploration.
Early human curiosity about the versus
Sorry, that came
early
through.
human early human
Okay, think I think you might be talking about the UN's role in space versus individual nations. Is that what you meant? Or am I still off track?
lunch of Putling 19057.
Sorry, that wasn't clear either. Are you asking about space-based communications or international collaboration on space missions?
Beginning of the space age.
I'm still having trouble making out what you're saying clearly. It sounds like you're trying to talk about something big, maybe space agencies, borders, or timelines. Could you try rewording it or taking your time to say it a bit more slowly?
First woman in space, Yuri Gagarin.
Ah, Yuri Gagarin. Okay, much clearer now. April 12th, 1961. A huge moment. The first human in space, orbiting the Earth once in Vostok 1. It really kicked off the space race between the US and the Soviet Union. A truly iconic moment in history.
Estimate of one full orbiting around Earth.
You're asking about how long Gagarin's orbit lasted, right? It was about 180 minutes, just under 2 hours. Not a super long flight by today's standards, but it was the first time anyone had ever been up there, so every minute was history in the making.
First American in space, Alan Shepard.
You mean Alan Shepard? May 5th, 1961. He was the first American in space, though it was a suborbital flight, so not a full orbit like Gagarin's. Still a huge milestone for the US space program. It felt like everyone was watching and waiting to see who would get to space first.
First woman in space, Valenta.
Oof, I'm not quite catching everything there. Are you talking about the first woman in space? If so, that was Valentina Tereshkova, June 16th, 1963. She spent almost 3 days in orbit, which was an incredible feat for
The
the time.
space race benefits USA and USSR.
I think you're asking about how the space race benefited both the US and the
Yes.
USSR, right? Absolutely. The competition spurred massive investments in science, technology, engineering, and math, and materials science, rocketry, and computing that had ripple effects across all kinds of industries, way beyond of the world, and inspired a generation of scientists and engineers.
History Moon Landing by Apollo 11.
I think you're asking about the first moon landing, July 20th, 1969, with Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. Apollo, not Ebolo. Armstrong was the first to set foot on the moon, then Aldrin joined him shortly after. A moment watched by hundreds of millions of people worldwide. Incredible, really, when you think about it.
First woman on the moon, Neil Armstrong.
Uh, on the first steps on the moon, one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. Pretty iconic quote, right? I've heard it's still one of the most famous things ever said.
Famous world. That's one small step.
You're right. That's the famous quote. That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. It's become legendary, hasn't it? Though there's always debate about whether he actually said A before man or not.
Development of space station.
Mm. Space stations, yeah, that's been a big evolution. Salyut 1 was the first one, launched by the Soviet Union in 1971. It was really basic, didn't last long. Then Skylab, launched by the US in 1973, lasted longer. But the International Space Station, ISS, is the big one, started back in 1998, and it's still in orbit today. It's become this incredible collaborative project between pretty much every major space agency.
Launch of International Space Station.
The ISS actually has different modules built and contributed by the US, Russia, Canada, Japan, and the European Space Agency. You have the American modules like Unity and Destiny, then Russia's Zarya and Zvezda. Europe has Columbus, Japan has Kibo, and Canada provided some of the robotic arms. Each country was responsible for their pieces, but they all work together to make the station function. It's a really impressive feat of international cooperation, honestly.
Long-term humans life in space.
I'm not quite sure I caught what you meant there. Were you asking about what life is actually like for astronauts living in space for long periods of time?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So it's pretty challenging physically. Astronauts lose bone density and muscle mass without gravity, so they exercise like crazy, hours a day. They also deal with motion sickness at first and have to manage their sleep cycles carefully. And then there's the psychological side, being isolated, living in a confined space with the same people for months. It's tough stuff. But apparently, you get used to the routine, and many astronauts say the experience completely changes their perspective.
Space Shuttle Problem by NASA.
The Space Shuttle program, a huge part of NASA history. It had incredible successes launching satellites and conducting experiments, but it also had two major tragedies, Challenger in 1986 and Columbia in 2003. Both were caused by really complex technical failures that were heartbreaking for the whole nation. There were definitely questions about the risks versus the rewards after those disasters.
Reusable spacecraft technology.
It's a massive question. Right now, SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket is probably the most frequently used. It's reusable, which brings costs down. Then there's NASA's Orion, designed for deep space missions. Blue Origin is working on New Glenn, which aims to compete with Falcon 9. And beyond rockets, we have tech like advanced solar panels for power, life support systems that recycle air and water, and robotics for building and repairing things in orbit. What area of spacecraft tech specifically were you curious about?
Lunch of Hubble Space Telescope.
Just check in some details. Give me a sec.
Yes.
Amazing work. It recently celebrated its 36th anniversary with a stunning new image of the Trifid Nebula. And it looks like Hubble's expected to keep going for at least another decade, maybe even into the 2040s. Just last year, they discovered something totally new called a Cloud 9 object and got some cool insights on these interesting stars called blue stragglers.
Deep space image of galaxies. Discover of black
Hmm.
holes and dark matter.
James Webb Space Telescope has really been delivering. One of the latest shots is Pandora's cluster, this mega cluster of galaxies. And they got a really gorgeous image of the Helix Nebula. They call it the I've God Nebula because of how it looks. The Hubble telescope's also famous for these super deep images. Think the Hubble Ultra Deep Field, they've captured light from galaxies literally billions of
Mars
years old in those
explored
things.
emissions being success of Mars river causality. Maya, are you here?
Let me check some details. Yeah, I'm here. About Mars exploration, historically, it's been a tough gig. Around half the missions sent actually fail. That's a really high rate. But things are improving lately. NASA's Perseverance rover is doing great. It landed in 2021 and is looking for signs of past life. They even figured out how to make oxygen from the Martian atmosphere, which is a big deal. China's Tianwen-1
Success of Mars
mission is
rover
also up there, and the
curiosity.
UAE's HOPE mission is mapping the climate. You still there?
Okay. Advance of water on Mars. Advance advance of water.
Sorry, that came through really garbled. I heard success of
Advance
Mars,
of
but the rest
water on Mars.
was unclear. Something about Luna.
Hey Maya, are you here? Maya, advance of water on Mars. Can you explain? Maya, yes.
So Mars definitely had water in the past. Curiosity found evidence of ancient lakes and wave ripples from billions of years ago. More recently, they think there might be massive underground reservoirs, maybe enough for oceans. And we know there's water ice at the poles and under the surface. Pretty incredible when you think about how different it is now.
Lunch of James Webb Space Telescope.
I'm not quite sure I caught what you're saying. Could you try rewording that for me?
Lunch of James Webb Space Telescope.
Hang on, checking that for you. The James Webb Space Telescope launched on December 25th, 2021, so it's still pretty new. It took off from French Guiana on an Ariane 5 rocket. It's pretty amazing when you think it's been up there not even 4 years and we're already getting these stunning images.
Clear image of Brady and Ansarife. Clear image of early and survive.
The standouts have been the views. Sorry, I couldn't quite catch that. Did you ask about the clearest images of galaxies?
Discovery of exoplanets.
Just pulling up some info on that. They're finding new exoplanets all the time. Recently, they confirmed around 45 rocky ones that might be able to support life. And get this, they've even found water ice clouds on this Jupiter-like planet called Epsilon Indi Ab. Pretty crazy stuff happening out there. There are over 6,200 confirmed exoplanets
Study
now.
of distant solar system.
Let me dig that up. So 1430 million years and 4 minutes ago?
Now my next question is discovery of exoplanet.
Let me see what I can find. The first ones we've
Okay, my next question is study of distant solar system.
got it. Sounds like you're asking about
Missions of Jupiter and Saturn.
got it. Sounds like you're asking about distant solar. So you're asking about space missions, is that right?
रुक जा मैं ये कर लूं फिर देखता हूँ सेशन कर लूं Okay, my next question is lengths of
I'm not sure I caught that clearly. Could you
lengths of Voyager 1.
Your next I'm not quite catching what you're saying here. Could you try rephrasing that?
Voyager intended Starlink space.
Let me double check something real quick. Okay, so it looks like Australia's actually. You're welcome.
Private companies entertaining space are.
Let me check that for you. So in Australia, some of the big private. Thanks, Abdul Rahman. Yeah, SpaceX is a big name there too. Yeah, SpaceX actually has a pretty big setup in Australia right now, mostly through Starlink.
Reliable rocket likes Falcon's 9.
I'm not quite. Ooh, right. I'm having trouble understanding what you just said there. Could you repeat that?
First commercial space travel.
Let me quickly look something up. So it sounds like you might be curious about space-themed bars. There are a bunch that.
Space tourism brings.
Missed what you said there. Could you? It sounds like you're saying you want to thank me. That's really sweet of you, Abdul Rahman. Is there anything else I can?
Satellite technology.
No problem at all.
Satellite technology advancement. GPS and computational satellite.
Let me pull something up quickly. Okay, so you're bringing together satellite. Okay, optimizing for the next question. What are you thinking of asking?
Weather forecasting improvement,
Let me just see what comes up.
Earth observation,
Really changing how we do forecasting these days, especially in weather. It's actually becoming, yeah, Earth observation can really help.
Earth observations from space,
Earth observation is mostly done through satellites these days, giving us a ton of images and data from space. It's really important for studying climate change and tracking natural
observations
disasters.
of China in space missions, observations of India.
Just quickly pulling up some information. So China and India are both becoming really big players in Earth observation from space, with China
Moon mission,
having a
chance drive,
ton
Pakistan
of.
early satellites, ये border one.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Importance,
You say it again?
importance of international populations.
Let me quickly look that up. Yeah, international organizations are really important these days. They basically help countries work together on big global issues like climate change, peace, and global health.
Okay, future mission to Mars human landing. Future missions to Mars human landing.
Let me see what comes up. So it sounds like there's a lot happening with.
Search for life beyond Earth. Space exploration, recharge ships.
Let me do a quick search on that.
Importance of science and technology. My importance of science and technology. Why are you here?
Okay, that's nice to hear, Abdul Rehman.
Importance of science and technology.
Let me check that for you. Science and tech are honestly so important these days. They drive innovation and help us solve big problems.
Relation space explorations in space community.
I'm looking that up for you. So, science and tech are kind of the backbone of space exploration, building the rockets, analyzing data, and helping us understand all the universe.
Development of usable spacecrafts like Dragon spacecraft.
Let me see what that's about.
First private company to send astronaut is ISS.
Let me do a quick search on that. Oh, yeah. SpaceX was the first private company to send cargo to the ISS way back in 2012. Pretty historic stuff.
So, he
I'm having trouble with what you're saying there. Could you